busy, and I'll tell you why I'm busy. I have a press release here, and I have been following, right before air, an unbelievable situation happening in Mexico. You have probably been following the case of the Akeos. Paul and Christy Akeo locked up in a Mexican prison. They are free tonight. Let me repeat, they are free tonight. We have this exclusive video of them being taken out of the Mexican maximum security prison. They're still wearing the prison garb here. The congressman from Michigan who went down to help get them out was successful. Representative Tom Barrett flew down yesterday, and look at the result. He got them out of the prison. Look at this. Big hugs, obviously. They had to sign some papers. They went through a hearing, and they got on a waiting jet. And folks, it's only been about an hour and a half that they've been in the air, but they are flying back to Lansing, Michigan. Look at it is astounding. They are still in their prison clothes as they get on that waiting jet with that congressman in the green right there. But man, oh man, was this harried. We were following their progress out of the prison, into the hearing room, signing the papers, getting in the car, and racing to the airport, to that jet. Okay, let me just read what I just got. I want to double check. Is this okay to go to air with, guys? I think this is, someone just clear up for me. I've been given a note, and I think it's Christy's social media. Can I get a yes or a no from the control room, please? I'm not hearing from anyone in the control room, so I'm not going to read that. Okay, we're good. So it says, we are coming home. And it looks like this may be one of the family members. Oh my God. Hello? Crying emojis. Hi, flying home on a private jet very soon. Thank God. How are you? Love you guys so much. We are good. Love you. Safe travels home. Heart emoji. Looks like that is a conversation between Christy and I'm hoping for some help from the control room here. Is that a conversation with Christy and her children or with friends of the family? Not getting confirmation on that. Okay. So I can tell you this. I've got a press release. Okay. So this is, now I'm getting confirmation. It is from a friend of the family who's going to join us in just a moment, who got those texts. We are coming home. She responds, oh my God, hello, with crying emojis. And Christy Akeo responds, flying home on a private jet very soon. They are on that jet as we speak. And they have been in the air for about an hour and a half on the way to Lansing, Michigan. She says, thank you. Mallory says, thank God. How are you? Love you so much. And Christy responds, we are good. Love you. And Mallory says, safe travels home. We're told the family is going to be headed to the airport to receive them on American terra firma. And this press release I just got in my hands after 32 days in a Cancun prison because of a timeshare conflict dispute with the Palace Company, a Mexican-based international hospitality company with offices in Florida. The Akeos have been released from custody and have returned to Lansing, Michigan. This is an early press release because they are not there yet, but they are on the way. They did say this. They want to thank President Donald Trump, his special envoy for hostage affairs, Adam Bowler, and Congressman Tom Barrett for working tirelessly for the release of Paul and Christy Akeo. All right, so coming up, not only are you going to hear from that friend of the family who got that text, but also I'm going to talk to someone who does this for a living, who deals with Americans locked up abroad and how this likely happened, the process that got them on that jet. I'm going to show you that exclusive video in a moment too and play the sound for you. Then I got a couple other big stories a little later in the show. This teacher who was arrested in her driveway, they said she had sex with a freshman at her school. She had no idea why she was being arrested. You can see in her face, she seems confused. What's happening? And the cops are telling her, we're going to tell you what's happening as soon as you get to the station. I'm going to play that video for you, and then I will explain what her defense is when she says, people are always trying to attack me because I'm pretty. That's coming up in just a moment. I also have Mary Kay Letourneau's attorney on this show to talk about what's up for that lady next. And then Kimberly Sullivan, the Connecticut mom who's alleged to have held her stepson captive for 2 decades. Her attorney is saying some things. I'm not sure these will help. Like, where are the handcuffs? Where are the chains? What's the problem? And 69 pounds, well, there are all sorts of reasons you could be 69 pounds. Maybe ask a doctor. These are the pictures from inside that hellhole where firefighters and police rescued him. And she is charged in this crime Okay, so all of that is just ahead, plus the body cam of his rescue. You may have seen a small clip. We have the longer one. Breaking news out of Mexico. Paul and Christy are out of Mexico. This has finally happened. This Michigan couple held for 32 days at a maximum security prison in Cancun, a resort town. All of it over a timeshare dispute. They're in the air. They're flying home as we speak. If you've been following the coverage, you know that they flew to Cancun on vacation last month and were promptly arrested at the airport. Their alleged crime, having been mired in what looks like a civil dispute with a high-end hotel chain called the Palace Resorts. Let me repeat that. A timeshare contract dispute landed this American couple in a maximum security prison in Mexico for a month. It took a freshman U.S. congressman from Michigan and a top hostage negotiator from the Trump administration to spring the Achaeos from that hellhole. And I do mean hellhole. The toilets didn't flush. The food was inedible, they said. Cells were overcrowded, and fellow inmates were rapists and murderers. The Achaeos lost about 30 pounds each, according to friends who saw pictures of them yesterday with the congressman. Representative Tom Barrett flew to Cancun yesterday and met with them in that crumbling prison, he said. But he also met with Mexican officials. And back here at home, Adam Bowler, that hostage negotiator, was also working the phones. And early this evening, after a long and drawn-out court hearing, that congressman escorted Paul and Christy Achaeo out of the Mexican custody they'd been in, and we have the exclusive video for you. Let's play it. Yeah, I don't know who Ryan is, but I want to play this again. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Where's Wyatt? There he is. Wyatt! So, they also, when they sent us these pictures, they sent us some other ones too from inside the court process that sprung them earlier this evening. So let's take those still shots because I want to describe something here. You can see Paul and Christy Achaeo sitting at the table. They're wearing the white prison t-shirts and they are signing some papers. So Paul is standing next to the wall in the white t-shirt. Christy is sitting in front of him, okay? And then behind them on his phone in the green t-shirt, that is the congressman. That's Representative Tom Barrett. And it was not but a hot minute once those papers were signed that the Achaeos and the congressman were racing off to the airport in Cancun, where, like you saw at the top of the show, that jet was waiting on the tarmac. And I want to play that video up full for you as well. Take a look. So let's play that again because I want you to see as they walk up, you can see they're wearing the prison clothing that they've been forced to wear in that prison, including the slides. Don't know if they even got their luggage because when they were arrested, they had, pull suitcases, right, in the airport, but I don't know if they even got their things or they just ran because that's what many people would do. You get out of a penitentiary, you are making for the airport, leave whatever it is behind. But they're wearing their jail clothes and the jail slides, getting on that jet. It's unbelievable. Next stop, Michigan. And since they just took off about an hour and a half ago, I'm doing the math on what the flight is. They could be landing on terra firma around 11:30, maybe midnight Eastern time tonight. So we're going to watch for that as well. And I want to welcome back to this program Mallory Wilson. She is a close friend of the Achaeo family. She got that text I read at the top of the show. She's very, very close with their daughter, Lindsay. They're lifelong best friends. This is breaking news, Mallory. I didn't even know that this was your text chain. I had to get that confirmed live on the air. I can't even imagine what you're going through. Tell me.
It's been a day. I mean, 24 hours ago, sitting here, I did not think that this is the situation we would be in. I'm elated to finally share that they're coming home. And I think I had a little stroke. Like when I saw Christy's name come up on my phone, I was not anticipating hearing from her. Like, what? You just got out of prison and you're texting me? That's crazy. But it was so comforting to know, like, from her own mouth, they are getting on a plane and they're coming home.
Mallory, had you seen these pictures before I aired them, of them coming out of the prison doors?
No, the only video I saw was the one of them getting on the plane. And I can't believe it.
You were on the show with me last night, and all you could look at was a photograph of them sitting at a table with the congressman. And that was a huge breakthrough in this impasse, that they were able to actually see each other for the first time in a month, and then be able to sit across the table from the congressman. And I think what you said to me last night was that you thought they had lost about 30 pounds, that they looked very, very thin after a month in custody. Now you can see that other video of them walking through the doors, being let out of the prison. What's your take on how they look?
They definitely have lost weight. I mean, I feel like their muscle mass is smaller, like they just look like kind of shells of themselves. I think more so yesterday in that picture, they were clearly in a high stress situation, and they're obviously a lot happier now in this video, so that's nice to see.
Do you have any idea who Ryan is, who they were yelling? Ryan, they were so happy to see Ryan, and the video cut off right as she was about to hug Ryan.
I don't. I'm wondering if it's someone from Representative Barrett's team who was helping and working so tirelessly to get them home. I have to say he's the only local congressperson or local lawmaker in Michigan who from day one responded, called the family, and he actually did what he said he was going to do. So I'm impressed. I am so impressed.
So I'm wondering if they've had a chance to call their daughter, Lindsay, or their son. I mean, did they, before they, listen, I know they want to be airborne as fast as possible, and I get it. I would want to be airborne as fast as possible too. But were there any phone calls home? Did they tell the family anything?
Absolutely, there were phone calls. They were letting them know they were going to be on the plane. Meet us at the airport. We can't wait to see you. Just excited to be together. They're focused on, being together for the first time in over a month. And, Lindsay's brother doesn't live in Michigan, so he's driving up to the airport from Northwest Indiana just to be able to see his mom and hug her and his stepdad. And it'll be an emotional reunion, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did you get an ETA? I was just doing the math on a flight from Cancun and I think they're going to Lansing. Is that right? Lansing, Michigan? That's where they're landing?
Yeah, they're going to Lansing. I think between midnight and 1 a.m. they're supposed to arrive.
It's a long flight. It's longer than you think. They also listed a lot of people. They said that there was Adam Bowler, a hostage negotiator. Did you know about a hostage negotiator who'd been working on this?
I did. Yeah, I knew yesterday at some point that Trump and Bowler had reached out to the lawyers working on this case, and they were helping Representative Barrett in his negotiations the last 24 hours plus, I guess, since he got there yesterday morning. So they've been instrumental in getting them home, and we thank them as well.
Mallory, do you know what did it? Like, there was a lot of conversation that the Palace Resorts had said, give us our $100,000 or so, and you could be free to go any moment, which I just cannot imagine. In this country, there would never be a situation whereby a business could demand money in order for the government to free someone from a government prison. But do you know if this was a shakedown? Did they have to pay money in order to get out of prison?
I don't know the details. I know the negotiations were lengthy. Most of the day. And then, of course, they had to go to court where the charges were formally dropped. So, it's been a long day for them on top of a long month. So I don't know the details. I'm sure they will be made public in the coming days, but I don't know. We're just excited that they're coming home.
What else did you find out about this process that I'm not asking and that the rest of us don't know?
It was a lengthy process, and it was really just what can we do to get them home? And so I know that they, sorry, it's very overwhelming. And so it's been a lot of conversations and back and forth, and there was, more negotiating than probably should have been done. But thanks to Representative Barrett, he got it done.
Yeah, I'll say, what a hero. He just flew down yesterday, and look at these pictures.
I know.
That guy's got he's got a campaign video for himself, right? Holy Dinah.
No kidding.
Mallory, thank you very much. I really appreciate you helping us sort of sort through a breaking story, as it's happening. And, just text us if you hear something. Let us know as we're on the air, another 45 minutes. We'd love to be able to bring our viewers any updates if you hear them from Lindsay or her brother. Thanks so much, Mallory. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And best to you and the family as they have this homecoming. I want to welcome back Dick Atkins. He is an attorney who specializes in helping Americans with legal troubles overseas. Wow. Dick Atkins, what a development. I mean, we just talked a few nights ago, and we did not expect that this was going to be the outcome so quickly. Just give me your reaction to these videos you're seeing.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm thrilled for the family. It's sort of unprecedented, but things like this have happened before. And we don't know for sure what actually happened. My guess is that as a result of the negotiations, they may have signed over their property, their timeshare, which was worth probably over $100,000, and that Palace Hotel got it back, and they were anxious to get this over with too, because it was bad news for them. That's what I think happened, but we don't know.
Well, I can imagine that the property wasn't even the issue. I think Palace wanted them to pay tens of thousands of dollars in order to get their freedom. I mean, it was that simple. And I'm paraphrasing here, but we may drop the charges if you pay and promise to apologize publicly and do all these things. So who knows what these negotiations were. I do want to ask you about the video we're seeing. They are in their prison clothes, Dick. They left that courthouse. They got into a speeding car with the congressman, and they raced for the Cancun airport. And we know this because we were in text communication with them and the congressman's office throughout that process, and there were calls being dropped, which is why we couldn't get them on the phone as they were speeding through Cancun to that airport. Does this surprise you to see that they were in such a hurry to get to that jet that they didn't even change clothes? They went in prison clothes?
I think they were slower than what most people would have done. They were so anxious to get out, and that might have been their only available clothes. Those were their own clothes. That wasn't prison-issued clothes, and they couldn't think more about spending any additional time there. They wanted to get out as quickly as possible. That's what happens. People want to get out. If they were wearing underwear, they would have jumped out and ran as quickly as they could. They don't want this to have any chance of being turned back or being reneged on.
Can I ask you this? The moment they had to go through customs, Dick, they had to still, after this moment of them coming out of the prison doors, they still had to go through immigration, customs and immigration, and leave the country. And I know that you have had clients who've been in this boat where you are free, but you are still on their soil. How frightening and tense is this time when you're clearing out of the country that's held you before you are actually in the air?
It's extremely fraught with difficulty and fear because anything can happen. Somebody can change her or his mind. Somebody higher up could have said no. They could have nixed it. They could have been put back in prison. Anything could have happened. So that's why they were so anxious to get out and get through this and get on the plane. And it wasn't until they cleared the airspace and were in international waters, over international waters, that they could feel safe and breathe a sigh of total relief.
I mean, talk about a sigh of relief. Mallory was almost crying a few moments ago, just trying to get her wits about her. You know, she received this incredible text from Christy, and it's so thin. I mean, you could tell they were in a real rush to get going and not stop, you know, and chit chat. I want to ask you, Dick, though, a lot of people are watching right now, and full disclosure, I vacation in Cancun. It is one of my favorite places to go. And lo and behold, one of my favorite places was the Palace Resort. You know, I used to go to a Palace Resort. I'm not sure I will go back. I'm so gobsmacked by what happened in a business dispute and why Palace Resort would have gone to this length to call the police and have them locked up for 32 days. Is there a place among your clients and the work you've done that you know is least safe for Americans to travel, or a place where Americans think they are most safe and they are not?
Sure. Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands, Hawaii. Hawaii's a state, but those two, any territory of the United States is safe. You're not in a foreign country. And that's why a lot of people go there, and they're wonderful places. But people should not give up on going to Mexico. 36 million or more Americans travel there every year, and only less than 500 are officially arrested. It's less than 1/100th of 1%. It's virtually safe if you don't get involved in weird deals, and if you don't carry weapons or ammunition. And if you do, and you don't carry drugs around with you, the odds are even less, and you're going to have a great time. This is something that rarely happens, and I have a feeling that hotels after this will be more careful because there's no doubt they're going to lose business because of this.
Well, I am chastened. I actually considered that I went through one of those seminars on the timeshare with this exact resort chain. And I know a lot of friends who have timeshares with this resort chain, and I'm very nervous for them. And I am just sort of at wit's end as to why they would have done this. The media attention alone is such bad publicity, not just for Palace Resorts, but also Cancun, which is such a lovely place. And it is such a popular place for Americans. Do you have advice for people watching right now, other than don't carry ammunition and don't carry drugs? My ex-husband and my children and his wife, they went to Mexico, and they got in a car accident and found themselves locked up for a day in a police station before they had to pay payola to the officers to leave the station. What's your advice to people who want to take trips to these places?
Well, they were lucky that they didn't have to stay longer, and it didn't officially count as an arrest. Obey the law, know those few things I just talked about. Be very careful if you're driving, because any accident, as your daughter saw, could be dangerous, and just be on alert. And also, the big thing is just don't be out late at night and don't become a victim of an assault or of a robbery or anything like that. And use good judgment and be vigilant, and don't drink too much, because many of the things that happen to people that are bad are because they've been drinking too much. So with all those things, and you're careful, your chances of having an incident like this minimal.
Yeah, I think it's a cautionary tale about getting into business with anybody in Mexico, because if it goes sideways, it's not a civil affair, as we're recognizing here. This is so upsetting to see this, but also just so great to see them freed. Dick Atkins, I buried the lead on your intro. People should know that you worked with Billy Hayes, who, was sort of the star character behind the Midnight Express movie that scared the dickens out of all of us, having been locked up in a Turkish prison for trying to travel with drugs. He had to escape. He didn't have the U.S. State Department come and rescue him and get him out. He literally escaped, and he's one of your clients. So, Dick, great advice. It's good to see you. I appreciate the info, and thanks for jumping on in this breaking news. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's a happy day for all of us.
I'll say, especially the Akeos. I can't wait to talk to them if I get the chance. Okay, folks, I don't care if you're a surgeon or a CEO or a special ed teacher with a really high opinion of yourself. When the cops pull up in your driveway, you're in for a rough day. Still to come tonight, an Illinois teacher can't imagine why the police are cuffing her and hauling her away until they remind her of the fling that she allegedly had with a freshman.
Oh my God. What the
Not sure if it was before or after this meltdown that she said her defense was people attack her because she's pretty. The attorney for Mary Kay Letourneau knows a thing or two about this very situation, and he is live with me next.
Thanks for listening to NewsNation on the Go. I'm Leland Vittert. This is America's fastest growing cable news network, delivering fact-based, unbiased news from all sides.
I don't give legal advice to alleged sex criminals or anybody else. But if I did, I would suggest thinking twice before telling a jury, quote, everybody comes after me because I'm good looking. And yet, police in Downers Grove, Illinois, just outside Chicago, say that's exactly what Christina Formella told them after a squad car showed up in her driveway out of the blue last month. At first, the special ed teacher and high school soccer coach was baffled as to why the officers were there, so they filled her in. They told her they were arresting her for having sex with a 15-year-old freshman, at which time her confusion turned to a full-on meltdown. So we have two body cams. One is the body cam first when they arrest her, and then after that, it's the body cam after they've broken the news as to the charges that she's facing.
Do you have your license on you?
Yes. Can I?
Yeah, I'm going to explain. I'm sure you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You're Christina?
Yes.
Okay, Christina, do me a favor. Can you step out of the car for me? I know you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You don't have anything on you? You can just grab whatever you need.
Whatever I need.
Yeah, whatever you need, like your phone, your purse, go ahead and grab it.
Is she going somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we're going to explain everything to you guys. Go ahead and grab it. We're not going anywhere right now. Of course, yeah.
I don't understand what's going on here.
I get it, yeah. You can go grab your things.
Can he come with me?
Yes. You stay there for right now, sir. Just stay there, but yes, you can. But come on back here.
Should I shut the car off?
Oh, yeah. Start back over here. So, we do have an investigation going on. We have to talk to you about it at the police department, okay? So we're going to explain everything to you there. It's not my investigation. I don't know the full details. We do have to bring you there, though, okay? So I do have to put you in handcuffs and bring you to the police department. Just a down trip.
Handcuffs?
Yeah.
Am I in trouble? Like, I'm so lost right now.
I'm just, like I said, I can't answer any questions right now. I'll just tell you that right now you're being detained for an investigation and we're bringing you to the police department. And once you get there, they're going to fill you in on everything.
I'm just going to put your seatbelt on. Unless are you able to reach it down there? Alright. Sure you don't want a tissue or something?
I'm feeling I'm gonna throw up.
A bag?
Yes, please.
Alright. Shauna, can you grab like a bag out of there?
Christina Formella was 28 years old at the time of the alleged encounter, and apparently it happened only once. But if that's true, she may have thought no one would ever know, including the husband that she just married last summer. But last month, the student's mom bought that student a brand new phone, and while linking his iCloud account, she came across some racy and improper text messages from last year, allegedly from this teacher. One of the messages said, "I love having sex with you." The mom's next call was to the Downers Grove Police Department. And Formella is now charged with 2 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse and 1 count of criminal sexual assault against a minor. Right now, my next guest might be having a little deja vu. David Gerke was the attorney for the late Mary Kay Letourneau, who was also a teacher who had sex with and went on to marry and have children with a student named Vili Fulau. David, thank you so much for being on the program. First of all, your reaction when you hear a story like this, when you heard this story and when you hear stories like them.
It's deja vu. I've heard it. I've heard about it before Mary. I've heard about it so much more since her. And if I can just interrupt for just a minute, I think this is important, and it goes back to Paul and Christy. Americans, if you go out of the country, your rights, everything you know about legal systems, law, and all of that, that doesn't count. Don't go crazy. You got to be more careful. And I have had so many cases of people that go overseas, especially younger people, and think none of the rules apply. No, you don't know what rules do apply, and don't screw up. So anyway, back to the story. You've got to remember
I was just going to say, I'm glad you said that, because I do think it's a real cautionary tale for people who travel abroad and think that the rights that they enjoy here, the luxurious rights that we enjoy here in the U.S. are not the same everywhere else. Just quickly, I wanted to ask you about the evidence. They say they've got text messages from her, between her and the boy, talking about the sexual encounters, notes in her notes application saying fixing things with the victim. She says, however, the boy grabbed my phone, texted all these messages, then deleted them from my phone, kept them on his phone, and wanted to blackmail me. Do you think that's going to fly in her defense?
I hate to demean somebody's hopes or cases or whatever. Evidence can be direct or circumstantial. This would be circumstantial evidence that it happened. The jury can put whatever weight they want on direct or circumstantial, and this is circumstantial evidence that looks bad. There will be time stamps, date and time, and possibly even the location from where it was sent when they analyze that phone. I think she's in trouble based on it. Then her own memoir that she talked about being in love and cheating on him or he cheating on her or whatever, she can say that's her, she was talking about her husband. It doesn't really fit that scenario as much as this young man. And I think she's in trouble.
Yeah, well, listen, I've only got about 20 seconds left, but I have to get you on this. And that is that she says the reason she's in trouble is that because she's good looking, people attack her. And I wondered how, as you were Mary Kay's attorney, how do you deal with the public perception of something that's this high profile and the echoes of Mary Kay?
That's very much an echo, because Mary said, and Billy confirmed, that this started off with a dare from one of Billy's cousins that he couldn't, and they used the colloquial F word, his teacher Mary. And so that was his initial motivation. And when you're hot, you're the hot teacher, that's what everybody thinks. But again, I don't think that's going to fly given all the text messages.
Going to be tough. Going to be tough. David Gerke, good to talk to you. Thanks for doing this. I know you don't talk a lot publicly, and so I do appreciate that you've done this interview with me tonight. Take care.
Wait, one last thing, please. Don't talk to the police. She's telling all this stuff. She's cutting off this defense, that one. This one's no good. Shh.
That's the lawyer's advice at all times. Never talk. Never talk till you call the lawyer. All right. Thank you so much, David. Appreciate it. All right. Coming up next, when someone's accused of a heinous crime against a hapless and innocent victim, and the gut-wrenching evidence is overwhelming, there are 2 ways a lawyer can go about this, right? You can admit everything and hope for leniency, or you can dig in and deny to the bitter end. And tonight it appears the Connecticut woman accused of confining and starving her stepson for more than 2 decades, she's going the second route. After a break, the stunning defense from her lawyer and the reaction from that victim's mother.
You're listening to Banfield on NewsNation's audio stream. Available 24/7 on the NewsNation app, or just say, Alexa, play NewsNation.
Defending the indefensible, explaining the inexplicable, excusing the inexcusable. A good lawyer calls that Thursday. And Kimberly Sullivan, she's got herself a feisty one. Kimberly is the woman accused of locking away her stepson in her squalid Connecticut home for more than 2 decades and barely letting him eat. When he was finally rescued in February after setting fire to that house to escape, he weighed just 69 pounds. Sullivan's attorney went off on reporters this week after Waterbury police in Connecticut released these photos from that house of horrors. And I will say this is post-fire, so there's some fire damage, but the rest you can pretty much see. And let's just say that Kimberly's lawyer, he is earning whatever she's paying him.
Where are the handcuffs? Where are the chains? Where are the signs of restraint? Those pictures raise a lot of questions if you look at them objectively. If you haven't rushed to judgment, if you don't look at this through the lens of everything that has been said about my client is true, and you step back for a second, you're going to see that a lot of things don't add up. And I don't know why he was drinking out of a toilet, but that was reported in grade school by the principal before any alleged abuse ever began. And as far as his weight, I haven't seen any medical records yet. And there may be other explanations for his weight. Ask a doctor. That's not for me to explain. There could be a lot of reasons. And we may raise some more of those questions. But now's not the time for me to guess as to why he was 68 pounds.
I would like to know when the right time is to ask why a 32-year-old man weighs 68 pounds, about the same as a typical 10-year-old boy. In body cam video from the night of the fire, the victim looks like a child, but definitely looks like a rag doll as the firefighters carry him out. Take a look.
Got one victim right here.
If all of this makes your heart ache and your blood boil, my next guest can relate, and then some. For her, this nightmare couldn't be more personal or painful, because Tracy Valorand is the victim's mother, and she joins me live after the break.
The biggest trials in America, and Banfield is all over them. Lori Vallow, Karen Reed, the Menendez brothers. You know their names. Now see how justice unfolds. Could Lori Vallow be convicted in the murder of her 4th husband? Will Karen Reed's 2nd trial end with a verdict or another mistrial? And what will happen at the Menendez brothers' resentencing? Plus, all eyes are on the trial of the illegal immigrant accused of killing jogger mom Rachel Morin. The case isn't closed until you've seen it on Banfield, only on NewsNation.
Kimberly Sullivan may be remembered for a very long time as an evil stepmother, because if she's guilty of the things she's accused of doing, it is horrifying. This home apparently was a prison for her 32-year-old stepson for decades. At just 69 pounds, he told rescuers he set a fire just to try to escape. She's a stepmother. But that 69-pound man also has a mother, and Tracy Valorand is that mother. She's live with me now. Tracy, there's a long backstory, and I should let the viewers know that when your son was an infant, you gave up custody to the foster system thinking he'd have a better life. Or at least your daughter, rather, your daughter. Yeah, you gave your daughter to the foster system for a better life, and you gave custody of your son to his father, and the father married Kimberly Sullivan. I know you had a terrible time trying to reach him over the years. What was your first reaction when you heard the news of what had happened to him?
Devastated. Absolutely devastated. Happy that he was found, happy that he was alive, but completely devastated in the condition that he was found.
Had you ever met Kimberly Sullivan before?
No, I have not.
Did you know anything about her relationship with your ex-husband?
I knew prior to my ex-husband and myself actually even meeting, I knew at one point they had dated, but I have never met the person. Actually, I can't even call
And
her a person.
what about the ex-husband who died last year, who apparently was around for 2 decades of this abuse?
I can't understand that either. When you take enough of yourself to actually let your child stay with the other parent, that in itself is very hard to do. But when you put this horror, it's I can't imagine what my son had to deal with for so long. And it should have never, ever happened.
Have the police told you any details? Have they helped you to navigate the situation that you're in right now with your son and the condition he's in?
The day that I found out and went straight down to the police department, that's as much information as I've gotten from them. I've had phone calls into the detective, still waiting on a response. He hasn't called back, so
It's got to be so hard. Tracy, do you have a message if your son is listening tonight?
I love you. You get better, you get stronger, you get healthier. We're all here for you.
And he will absolutely need that. Tracy, I hope we can keep in touch as this story continues. It's going to be a long road for him and certainly a different kind of road for Kimberly Sullivan. Thank you for doing this tonight, and we do wish you and your family the best.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That is our show for this evening. I just want to remind you of our top story tonight, though. The family that has been trying to get their parents home for 32 days is now happy to report that Paul and Christy Akeo are probably just about 2 hours from landing in Michigan after a nightmare in a Mexican prison. You'll hear a lot more of that on NewsNation in the morning. And in the meantime, stay tuned. Cuomo is coming up next.
Thanks for listening to NewsNation on the Go. I'm Chris Cuomo. This is America's fastest growing cable news network, delivering fact-based, unbiased news from all sides.